Thanks for convening this hearing on a matter of utmost importance in the world. Dr. Wallander, General Sims, thank you both for coming before the committee, sharing your insights. Indeed, what Ukraine has done in the defense of their homeland is admirable beyond description, a cause we must continue to support. We've seen the Ukrainians fight far beyond expectations, in part due to the assistance we've provided to them. As you both stated, it's vital we continue our investment in Ukraine, as not only do their efforts weaken our global foe of Russia, but also aid in deterring other nations from attempting similar maligned incursions, such as China. One aspect of this conflict that is of particular interest of mine is increased use of unmanned systems to inflict damage. We've seen some sheer ingenuity out of our partners in Ukraine. Certainly, this marks a new chapter in how we plan for future conflicts through both direct involvement and military aid. As this conflict has evolved, how have emerging technologies changed our priorities of aid? Have there been any particular lessons that we've learned along the way? Doctor?
Thank you, Congressman. I fully agree with you in your characterization of the evolving nature of the battle, and also the required technology and the innovation of the Ukrainians. We have also innovated in what we've provided. Beginning early in the conflict, we focused on providing Stingers and Javelins, and last summer we began to shift to providing UAV capabilities and counter-UAV capabilities, exactly because we were seeing on the battlefield the kinds of developments that you've pointed to. At the same time, the Russians were suffering limitations in their own UAV capabilities. And unfortunately, Russians innovate too. And one of the things that they've innovated in is they've grown closer in relations with Iran and are relying on Iranian UAVs and one-way attack drones. We have distributed around for all of you to see evidence of course, Iran and Russia deny this, but actual evidence of how Iran's provision of advanced UAV capabilities, both ISR and attack UAV capabilities, have been enabling the constraints on Russian defense industry. But at the same time, we are ahead of that curve, and we are providing Ukraine with newer and more advanced counter-UAV capabilities as well. And the Ukrainians have been extraordinarily smart about adapting to that requirement as Russia uses those UAVs to attack critical infrastructure and civilian locations.
Joe Sims?
Sure. I think one thing that really strikes me, so my initial description, I kind of mentioned in Bakhmut as an example, where we see this First World War kind of revisited. That's a place in which both sides have not employed what we would call combined arms warfare. So we're talking about unmanned systems, everything from cyber, space, electronic warfare. We are learning lessons every day by the way that the Russians are conducting operations, the way that the Ukrainians are conducting operations. We're able to assist the Ukrainians in a number of areas, as you would expect. But we are, quite honestly, learning from them, I think, as much as anybody else, on the criticality of this combined arms effect and using all the domains of warfare. Things that don't cost very much money, in some cases, are proving very effective on the battlefield. You know, these small handheld drones is an example, and I know everybody in the committee has probably seen video of them, you know, these drone platoons that the Ukrainians are employing have turned that small, tiny drone into an extraordinarily effective weapon because of what it's tied back to in terms of its ability to reach back to an archer. And so I think we're learning a number of lessons about things that may not cost a lot that may prove very effective on the next battlefield.
Thank you both.